Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Into the Pit. And I am delighted to have Miss Maria Verdeschi here. And she is going to tell us a little bit about herself, but also about her abilities, because you are a psychic medium. And so I hate to ask, but do you kind of liken yourself to anyone else that's out there?
What was the question? Am
Are
I
you
kind of,
are you do you compare yourself with anyone out there, like, oh yeah, I'm just like so and so, or do you just say, no, this is me?
no, I don't really do that because I think that all mediums are different. And in fact, even when I'm getting ready to do a reading, whether it's one-on-one or a group reading,
Mm-hmm.
I always go over how I do a reading. And I tell people we're all different. We all do readings differently because I think for the most part, all mediums are different.
That's for sure. I know everyone has different little trigger signs, I guess you'd say. Now I'm not a medium of any sort, but I kind of know when a spirit is coming into the room because my ears will start popping. And it's the only time it ever happens, unless of course I'm up on top of a giant mountain and then can't come back down. But a friend of mine, when she's in contact with spirits, she starts to belch.
Oh,
So
wow. I get chills head to toe. So
okay.
that's and if they're giving me like a yes, it's the chills head to toe. And then I'll tell people, like, they'll ask me a question or they'll want to know something. And when I'm asking, I call it a flat line. It just kind of goes like that. And I'm like, yep, nope, I'm not getting anything on that.
Right. Well, I mean, I know people are always curious about your abilities, but tell us about you.
So, um, this kind of all started like when I was 4,
Mhm.
and we used to live on Long Island in New York. And I can remember being that 4-year-old going into my parents' room saying, there's someone talking in my room. There's someone in there. They humored me, went in my room, no, looked in the closet, all that. And then the next time I went in there, I got yelled at. Get back to your room, be quiet, go to bed, don't bother us. So I learned at a very young age, oh, okay, other people must not see this or hear this. I'm not saying anything to anybody.
Mhm.
And I never said anything to anybody until I was much older. So even like my really good friends in grade school or high school, I never said a thing. I wanted to fit in. Now, it still went on that I was the kid also that ran from the door to the bed and jumped because I could feel them in my room. I knew I was not alone in that room.
Mhm.
Then it got to when I was about, I think, 8, we moved to Michigan. And the whole family kind of got a little depressed. And that's when I really just shut it down because I was already made fun of in grade school for the Long Island accent. And, I really tried hard just to fit in. Of course, I was that different kid. I just didn't fit in. I was different. No matter how hard I tried just to, blend in, I just didn't.
Mhm.
I think it wasn't until later in life when I just embraced it and said, screw it. I'm not going to fit in and I'm just going to embrace this now. And I tell people that even like come to me for, let's say they're coming to me for coaching or reading. I always like to have people, if they've been feeling a little lost or, you know, more anxiety. I like it when they leave with, I'm gonna say, in their power, feeling their power.
Mhm.
Um, that's my joy. That's part of my joy of what I do, is for someone to know, you know what, I can hear some things or sense some things, and I'm going to trust my gut more so I make these better choices because my loved ones are helping me. So they feel more powerful. And I feel that that's important.
So what do you do outside of, using your abilities?
Boy, that's a good question. I feel like I've just been doing a lot of work lately,
Yeah.
but I love it. So it's not like, oh my God, I'm just working. I really love what I do. It gives me great joy. Um, I've been in the middle of selling my house, which, okay, so we always get these little gut feelings on things, whether we follow through with them or not is our decision. Because we all have the choices that we make. So last year, here's one of my stories of listening to your loved ones on the other side because they want to help you. They want to make things easier for you. They want to save you time. They want to save you money. They really want to help you. So last year, I've got this like homeowners policy. I think it's with the city, but it's like for the sewer line. And it's like $75 a year. And I've had it for years, this policy. And I kept thinking, do I really need it? Maybe I'm not going to renew it. But then I heard my mom go, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, oh God, I'm supposed to renew this. Okay. All right. I'm going to renew it. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. Thanks. I'm renewing it. Now we're fast forwarding to a week ago because I'm in the middle of selling my house. They're doing the home inspection and they put a camera in that sewer line and there's a crack.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, I don't know, a $9,500 bill. Do you know how much my insurance policy takes care of that I almost didn't renew for the $75?
Does it take care of all of it?
$8,500 worth.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So
Wow.
when I say our loved ones want to save us time, money, they want to save us the stress of things. Is that still stress? Because I have to get that taken care of. Sure. It would be a lot more stress though if I had to pay the 9,500.
No lie.
See? So they really, and I really try to get this message across to people that listen to your gut. That's part of them talking to you, saying, nope, do this, do that. They
Oh,
want
wow.
to help.
Now, I see some of these shows where somebody will walk into a store and turn around and say, "Oh, do you know that so and so's here and is telling you this, telling you that?" You don't do that, do you?
Oh God, no, no. And you know why I don't is because I really respect people's boundaries.
Thank you.
So yes, I feel like that. And do I get a little tap on the shoulder every now and then? For the most part, I don't because I have a deal with spirit. Don't do that. Every now and then, though, someone's mother will get through and say, that's my daughter. Can you give her a message? And I'm sitting there arguing with them going, no, I'm not going to give them a message. Now, what I might do is say to the daughter, oh my gosh, I love your shoes. Where'd you get those? Give her a nice, just a compliment or something to make her smile for the day. And then I'll tell the mom, there you go. There you go. But I feel like, what if that person had some kind of a really didn't like their mother? Or where the mom's coming in and telling me to say hi, but she's not telling me the whole story. I go and tell the daughter, oh, your mom's here. She says hi. I might ruin her whole day
Right.
and send her off to therapy again. So there's no way that I do that. I respect boundaries.
It's almost like an assault in a way.
Exactly. That's
That's
how I feel about it. And it really, it hurts me when I hear that people do that.
Yeah, I've seen it on television, and at first I thought, oh wow, that's kind of cool, and then when you think about it, it's like, well, that's kind of an invasion of privacy in a way, and like you said, you don't know what that relationship was like, so
Exactly.
I wouldn't do it.
Exactly. I don't know the whole story in that split second. I don't know what happened between the two of them.
So I've only asked this to one other person with abilities, but when you Does it make it difficult to date and things like that when you have abilities, when the person knows that they can't get away with the lie?
So you know what, it does, but here's the thing. You'll also find out that a lot of mediums have either married, gone out, or both with narcissists.
I've heard that.
Yes. And I am one, that's why I haven't dated in almost 4 years. The last one was a doozy. And it's because we feel everything and we feel that they're lying to us, but then we hear this, well, I wouldn't do that. I love you so much. I wouldn't. And then we're
Mhm.
sitting there going, well, I want to believe him. Why would he lie? Why? So it's a push-pull thing that kind of goes on with us until one day we wake up and say, no, for sure he's lying. For sure. We'll feel that something's off in the relationship, but we can't quite put our finger on it, but we know something's off.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had someone else on and we talked about it, and I just got a chuckle out of that. I don't know why it came across my mind, but it did.
It is true though. We will know when something's a lie because for me, it hits me differently where I'll sit there and go, hmm.
Mhm.
Now, do I call the person out on it? Most of the time, no. You know, it depends on what the relationship is, I guess. If it's one of my kids, heck yeah.
Right.
I'll
You
be
gotta
like,
call them out.
so you're lying to me. And they start laughing because they know they can't get away with that. And they've known that since they were born, that they just can't get away with it.
Does it make it difficult picking friends? Because yeah, some people will want to use you as I guess, a parlor trick at times, especially at parties and stuff.
It does get a little hard. So that's with setting the boundaries again, which again can be hard for us because we don't want to do that. But I have set those clear boundaries. And if there's anybody, or my friends are usually respectful of it, but if they do get a little out of line with it, I'll say, I'm not a parlor trick. What are you doing?
Hmm.
I don't want to do that. I want to have fun.
Right, right. You want to kind of step away from that kind of stuff at times. You don't want that to be the defining every moment of your life.
Right. Oh, and I can't read minds. So I want to say that too, because everybody, the whole look on their face when they know what you do is, even though I don't read minds, but you're sitting there going, oh God, they're wondering if I can read their mind. No, I don't read minds. I don't read minds.
I often wonder about that when I have someone on. I don't assume, but you can't help but wonder. Well, is somebody giving them the inside track of what's going on in my head?
Well, so that could happen though, because, oh God, a great example of that is I had a client at the house and she went in the bathroom and then came back and sat down. And as soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh, and let's talk about your daughter with college. And she's going to be going here and this. And the tears just started coming down. She goes, do you know, I was just in the bathroom and I asked my mom, I need to know about my daughter with college. And if you're really here, please, I need these things answered. Now, do I have control over who comes in, what they say? No, that spirit has control. I have no control over any of that. So I think it's really cool when stuff like that happens. And I wouldn't say that I was reading her mind. It was her mother told me.
Now, I would like to know. Sometimes I have a visitor that'll come stand behind me. So if they show up, please let me know. But like I said, I don't want to exploit you and use your abilities. Although there's a million questions I could definitely ask, but is there been a time when you've been able to help, say, law enforcement or someone to solve a mystery of, I don't know, a murder or a missing person?
I haven't done, well, I won't say I haven't done that. I did one time many years ago with another medium,
Hmm.
but that is something I'd like to revisit in the future. I would definitely like to revisit something like that in the future. It's especially like with missing kids. I can't even imagine the pain that the parents go through. I mean, I have 3 children myself, and those are my most difficult readings when a child comes through. And my heart breaks for those parents.
Yeah.
It does. And right now, I've been getting a lot of with kids that have overdosed with fentanyl,
Yeah.
and they didn't mean to.
Well,
That
some
that
don't
was
even know.
exactly, it was not their intention. And so part of what will happen during the reading is it will be a sense of relief that their child did not commit suicide, that it was an accident.
Hmm.
And so, and it's a, okay, well, Maria, well, how do they know that you're not just saying that? They know I'm not just saying that because in their hearts, this is what they were already thinking, and I'm validating it. So it rings true to them.
That's got to be heartbreaking. I don't know if I can handle it myself. Uh,
It is heartbreaking. It is. So the only thing that I feel good about that and with those readings is it does bring a little bit of closure for them. And I also will go over how to connect with them so
mm,
that they can have a little more knowledge on connecting with their child in spirit.
a, a, a burning question for me, and it's just popped into my head. But when you've dealt with someone that's ended themselves, number one, do you think that they get stuck here? Is there a place that they go, or are they doomed? I mean, I worry about these things.
Okay, so like there is no hell. And I've talked to some other mediums about that too, and they all say the same thing. Nope, there is no hell. And I've asked a couple other mediums about this too, because how I see it when I connect to the other side is I'm going to use the example of stairs for different stages that they go through. So there's like these different levels because they're learning over there. So there's these different levels. I have on occasion found that when it's a suicide, they are a little stuck. And it's the energy from a reading or the energy from their loved one connecting with them, which they can do without a reading. It's just the energy of connecting with them and helping them kind of move. Because do we help our loved ones on this side? Heck yeah. Just like they help us over here. It goes back and forth. Um, I had a group a couple of years ago. It was at one of my daughter's sororities, and there was like 60 girls. And all of a sudden, there must have been 15 in spirit that stepped forward, where I literally dropped my mouth. My whole face was like, ugh. And I said, all right, I've got about 15, I believe, of your friends here that have committed suicide.
Oh wow.
It was that was probably one of the heaviest ones I've ever done because I literally had to pause for a minute and was just standing there in this holy cow. And for example, one of them I could see was on a building, and as soon as he put his foot, and it was too late to step back, as soon as that foot went over, he was already thinking, oh no, I don't want to. But it was too late. So he
Mm,
was letting me know that. Um, and I get that a lot, where they at the time do not see a different way out of the situation, but as soon as they put it all into motion and they can't turn it back, it's this regret. And especially when they're over there, because their soul, they can see the whole big picture of, oh, okay, this is what I could have done, or this, where they can see it.
Ah, that's powerful. Well, what about those that have, you know, they've committed murder, or they've done unspeakable things to women and children, and I mean, isn't there like a special place for those folks?
They're kind of, oh, what was the, I was brought up Catholic. There was the, I call it like a waiting room. So they're just kind of getting these extra lessons, kind of a thing, because after we pass over, it's our soul. That's different than if it was just the soul over here, those actions would have never happened. Because on a soul level, it's a higher vibration than when they're here. Do they step back? Do I feel it that they step back and go, holy cow, I cannot believe what I did? Yes. I had it where, boy, she was like 92, a 92-year-old woman was having a reading, and it actually brought her really big closure. It was both her parents came through. And again, I mean, there's no way I would know any of the stuff that came through, but there was quite a bit of abuse for her, and the things that the parents like owned and said, and it's the whole fact that I can spit out these things where they're sitting there going, oh my God, that is my dad. Oh my God, that is my mom. She wouldn't know this stuff. And they're able to have a healing on a deeper level. Even though these things happen to them and everything, there is still a healing that happens. So, can we get closure after our parents pass, or after someone passes with the things that they've done? Yes. Yes.
Oh, well, I've always wondered, because somebody does something just so vile and terrible that, why aren't they getting punished in hell, if that there is no hell? If that's a rabbit hole I could go down. Well, yeah, I used to preach, and I don't know, it's hard for me to believe that there isn't a heaven and a hell.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of times those people are living in their own little hell here on earth. And then when they go over there, they're seeing everything that they did. So it's replaying again for them. And they are learning over there. And I've also seen like that with that they're not going to carry that back over next time. So I know. I hear you where you're coming from, because some people, like, they've done horrible, horrible things, and it's okay, but gosh, I can take it from another reading where this it was a mother that had a reading and her son had passed, but it was really from a friend who the car went over into like a pond, and her son had hit his head and was kind of knocked out. But I saw that her son wasn't driving the car, where And I said, your son wasn't driving the car, but the one that was driving the car, it was his fault. He undid your son's seatbelt. It's kind of like he wanted to make it look like he was driving, but he got himself out of the car, but didn't help your son. And your son's saying, just leave it, because this family has a lot of money and you won't be able to do anything.
Jeez.
It rang true to her because she said, I didn't think he was driving. Oh, and I said, and there's a time lapse. The friend got out and there's a time lapse until he called for help. And she said, you're right. He went inside and took a shower and then called.
Jeez.
Is that boy living in his own hell right now? Absolutely, he is.
That I can
Absolutely.
understand. I can understand, you know. I could even forgive someone that has stolen from me, or you know, something along that line, but there's just some things I know you're supposed to forgive, but it's very, very difficult to.
It really can be sometimes. I agree. It really can be. It's always just to remember though that it's not really that you're forgetting what the person did, but you're letting go of it so it doesn't affect you, especially health-wise, because I've also picked up on that in readings, how it can eat away at someone health-wise, whether it be through cancer or, other ways of where it will start eating away at you.
Hmm. Well, yeah, the forgiveness is just as much as for you, or even more for you than it is for the other person.
Exactly. I would say it's more for you than for them.
It's difficult, but at the same time, if you do something wrong, you would expect somebody to have mercy on you as well. So it's that whole karma thing. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yes. Yes. And I fully believe in karma. I fully believe in it. Yes. Yeah. And I remind people though, we're all human. We're all gonna make mistakes now and then. Just own up to it. Just tell someone, you know what, I messed up. I'm so sorry. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
I can understand where in certain situations it could be really difficult, especially if you know you're going to hurt someone. But it's if you can just go ahead and ask for forgiveness, get it off your chest.
I agree.
At least you it's almost as like pulling off a band-aid. You rip it off all at once instead of a little bit at a time, then you just go ahead and get the pain over with, and then eventually it's going to feel better.
It, absolutely. I agree. Yes.
And now there's something I have noticed with some people with abilities, that you could easily work together, but for some reason somebody gets this ego, almost as if they think they're the only one that has abilities. How often do you run across that?
Um, I guess I try not to be around people like that too much because I like working with other mediums. I think it's
Mm.
fun.
But you're going to run
Um,
across them.
you're going to run across them. I let them be who they need to be. I guess that's how I'm going to answer that. I just let them, like, there's no way that I would go up to someone and say, oh my God, your ego is outside the door. Because by me doing that, isn't my ego out the door that I've
That's
got to
true.
point it out with them?
That's true.
So I really try hard not to judge. And boy, that is a tough one.
It is tough.
That is a tough one that I work on a lot because I'll find it even if I'm going through, like, let's say Facebook or something like that, where something will start irritating me. But then what I do is I'll stop and I'll say, oh, Maria, so this is hit a little note with you. What is it within them, in them, that you need to work on, that you've gotten all riled up about this situation?
Mhm.
What is it that you need to work on?
Exactly.
And
You know,
I stop and I'll reevaluate it and go, all right, I got to work on this. This is, yeah,
it's almost like a baited hook when they put that stuff out there, though. They want to say who's going to snatch hold of it. That's why you have to check your ego before you start, you know, answering stuff on social media and things like that. 'Cause then you think that you're above everyone else yourself. You know, I don't know what it is about the paranormal field. And believe me, I love to work with other groups and share advice. And by golly, you know, you have some advice for me, I'd love to hear it. This, we're all supposed to be here for the same thing. So I'm not stepping
yes,
on your territory. I'm not trying to steal your clients away from you or take the joy out of what you're trying to do. I'm here to help people and to learn, you know, what is on the other side. You know, if there is a soul out there, a spirit out there, why can't we just work together?
exactly. And the other thing, because some mediums can be kind of, the territory. I get that. But I'll sit back and I'll think, but gosh, this is a pretty big planet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people on this planet. And so I look at it that way too. And I'm also that medium where if I'm not getting something on something, maybe that someone has asked a question or whatever, I am very comfortable with saying, I don't know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not getting anything. I don't know. And I will tell people, I won't say something just to say something, nor will I not validate something that I haven't seen, felt, or heard. I have to see it, feel it, hear it, and really get my yeses for me to say, yep, or to start speaking when I'm saying something. Because I check that ego out the door. So I'm real comfortable saying, I don't know.
You know, one thing I've learned throughout the years, and I've learned this from successful people, that if you want to be a success, then you give yourself to other people. You know, you be almost like a teacher or even a servant, if you want to look at it that way. And when you can bring people along with you, then that's like when I know I have to keep it go to another reference, but I'm trying to relay the words correctly. And you know, my mind works a million miles an hour. When I worked for the city, when I was coming up through the different positions, I learned from everybody that I worked with. And when somebody new would come in, then I would try to teach them what I knew. When you do that, what you've done is, if I want to move up, I have someone that can step right into my spot because I've trained them. And it makes you look better too, because you're willing to teach others. And if you're willing to teach others, it's like, oh, of course we want you to move up, because then you'll keep teaching people. And I don't know why people can't have that same attitude. You know, my wife had went to a shop, we call it a witchy shop. You know, they got all that cool tarot and oracle cards and crystals and all that kind of stuff. And I actually was sitting down in the car, but I was like, you know, you take your time. And she did. She took her time. But she came back all excited. She met this guy that he didn't read oracle cards or tarot cards. He used a deck of cards. I'm like, well, how in the world? And he says there's something about numbers. He knows about numbers. And he'd having to do with your birthday and all these other things. She said he was hitting it, everything that you know, she would ask, he was getting it right. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, he ought to be making money doing that, you know. And she says he's afraid that he's going to offend the lady next door who is a psychic medium. And I'm like, but that's ridiculous. Why would you offend them? And she said, well, he just doesn't want to step on anybody's toes. And I said, but I don't understand. And my wife's like, if you are confident in your abilities, then you don't have anything to worry about. So if somebody else is wanting to do the same thing, you let them do their thing. You,
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I'll get off my soapbox.
I know, but I totally agree with you. So like with the numerology, I have a good friend, Philip, who does the astrology, numerology. I recommend him to everybody. I've worked with them. I have another good friend, Anna, who does tarot. And she does classes. I recommend everybody to her and to take her classes because she's so good.
Mhm.
So that I just feel like that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to all work together.
Thank you. I mean, wouldn't they do the same thing for you?
Oh, and they do. Yes. It's
Exactly.
all working together. We're not supposed to do this alone. We are not supposed to be here doing this alone. We're supposed to be working in a group and helping each other, not pulling each other down, but lifting each other up.
Now, do you have a like a shop, or you do this out of your house, or how do you help people?
I do it out of my house. It's been mostly on Zoom lately, probably 90% on Zoom, but I
Wow.
also do readings out of my house.
Mhm.
And I just got a, yeah,
Somebody's excited back there.
and I thought since I had the headphones on, you wouldn't be able to hear. The mailman just put the mail through the door. Um, I just got, with another medium, we purchased a house together in Lilydale, which is in New York, and it's a community of mediums. So I'll be doing stuff out of there. And last year we taught a class, and this year we're doing a 3-day class. And I've done like book signings and stuff up in Lilydale. Lilydale is fun. It's just this magical. I'm going to say it's magical. And I'm looking forward to that. So you can like, even if you're in Lilydale, you can see me if I'm up there at that house. Um, those are, and I have done not as many lately, but I do, on Zoom, I do a lot with the groups of 8, so everybody gets a message.
Oh,
I've been
cool.
doing that every month lately. And I just had like a group of, I don't know, 20 at the house. And I worked with another medium. I work very well with other mediums. So because I enjoy it.
So
The
you're going
groups,
you're going back to New York?
in June for sure, because that's opening day. Lilydale doesn't open until like their opening day is, I don't know, like the 20th or something, which I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you have it that late? And they're gonna have the monks. Um,
Ooh,
I know, and I want them
awesome.
to do a house blessing. So I had, was it like in 2016? I had the monks when they were in Michigan. And I just, of course, it was magical the way I ran across it. And they had one spot left for a house blessing. And sure as heck, I got them here to this house to bless it.
Oh,
And just
wow.
felt like so blessed that they were here, that from Tibet. And they're going to be up in Lilydale. So I really want them to bless the house up there. So I'm fingers crossed.
That's exciting.
It is.
I'd love to see that. So, tell me about the book.
So I wrote a book, There Is No Death, Only Life. And the inspiration behind the book was my mother.
Oh,
So my mother passed in 2009, and it was really sad because she was in such denial. So she had non-Hodgkin's, and she had gone through chemo, and then it came back, and then she went through like the bone marrow um, transplant, all that. And she was in remission. I mean, just for a very, very short time. And I would ask her, is everything okay? You all right? And she had it like I remember she was back for the Thanksgiving Day parade in her bed, because that was her big thing. I want to be back for the parade and watch it in my bed. And then it was that February where she was sick again in the hospital. And I came to see her and talked to the doctor. Nope, everything's good. Cancer's not back. And then it was in May, she was sick again. And I asked the nurse, I said, because she was in Florida. My mom and dad were in Florida. And I said, so do I need to book a flight? Because I just started getting a feeling. And she said, I think so. But she really wouldn't tell me too much. And my mom kept telling me the cancer didn't come back. So I thought she was just a little sick. Cancer didn't come back. That's what she kept telling me. When I get there, I asked the doctor and he says she has 10 days.
Oh my God.
And I said, literally came out of my mouth right away was, does she know? Does my dad know? Do they know? Did you tell them? Yes, I told them. But I wasn't allowed to discuss it with her, because I said, I asked the doctor, I'm like, I don't know what to do here. She has not told me. She's in complete denial. What do I do with this? And he's like, I wouldn't talk about it. So I think a gift you can give your loved one is honoring what they want and how they're feeling at that time, because that would have been really selfish on my part if I just started talking, okay, mom, well, you're dying and you have 10 days left. And how selfish would that have been?
Mm-hmm. And look what you would have missed out on, because that's been the only thing on both of your minds. Which, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, because I've thought about that too. If I found out that I was dying, I told my wife, I said, I don't think I would tell my kids. And she goes, but why wouldn't you? Because they need to know. And I'm like, because I don't want them to look at me different, treat me different or anything. I just want things to, just to stay the same. She goes, but you don't give them a chance to get ready. And I'm like, but, are you ever really ready?
That's a good point. I would tell my kids because I am so open about it. And I joke about it. I tell my kids, first thing I'm doing is coming back and haunting you guys. So watch out.
That's what I say.
And I said, and I can't wait to start moving things and freaking you guys out. So I do bring humor into it, and it is talked about. It was not really talked about too much, with my mom ever, only that she wanted to. We have a family mausoleum in New York. And the only thing that she ever really stated was she wanted to be in there with her dad, because her dad's in there and that was her favorite person on the planet. And that was about it. Otherwise, we just didn't talk about it.
Mm.
So, yeah.
My plan is I'm going to get one of those little cranks on the outside of my coffin and just have it start moving and have one of those springboards and start playing Pop Goes the Weasel and then come up on
Perfect. I love it. That will add humor to it. I like that. Yes. Yes.
My apologies. I didn't mean to get us off track. You continue to tell me about your book. I'm sorry.
No. So when my mom was going through this process, in my mind, I said, wow, this sucks. And how can I help people with this? I'm going to write a book. So it wasn't until literally 10 years later, because that was in 2009. And in 2019 is when I wrote the book and the book came out. But I have had people contact me saying it did help. It made them a little less fearful of death. And I've got like stories in there too from clients. on their process with their loved one passing and the signs, because our loved ones, they always give us signs. It's whether we choose to see it or not, because anybody can say, oh, well, that cardinal was there because there's cardinals out in the yard. Or, you can always try to talk away something.
Yeah.
But there are some things that you cannot talk away, that you sit there and go, okay, that's pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah, maybe I'll just wait and tell you off air. But there's a story that I wanted to tell you, but I don't think it was a coincidence. But this is your time. This is your time.
You can go ahead and say it though.
Okay. Well,
It's up to you, or you can say it later, whatever you want.
I don't want to take away from you. I already talk enough as it is. This is your time. This is your time.
So that's why I did the book. And my process with that book too was, I kept thinking, God, I don't want this really big, thick book where they pick it up, they read some, and then a month later, oh, here, let me read the rest of that. I said, I want a really short book with pictures that goes like I'm on an airplane and I can read the whole thing during the airplane ride. And I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish with it being an easy read, not so heavy. And I put pictures in there. And I also got, with my clients, some pictures of their loved ones. They had the option. Do you want to include a picture of your loved one in there or not? Whatever you want is fine. So some did, some didn't.
Wow.
And my mother is the main reason why I did the book. And she's my biggest guide on the other side. She talks to me all the time.
Awesome. That is really awesome. Now, if you customized a book for me, you'd have to make it like a Dr. Seuss book. So
Mine has pictures. It has pictures. It's an easy read.
So do you have any other big plans for your abilities, like I don't know, TV or movie, or I don't know, anything
Well,
else?
TV would be fun, and that's a possibility with Lilydale. That's already been going through my mind, that there's going to be something with that. I'm not quite sure, but it just keeps, so I know when something's a broken record that keeps going off, that it's something. And there is something with that that's going to happen with Lilydale. So it will be fun when it all unfolds. It will be fun. And I'm open to like fun new things. So I can't wait to see what the future brings.
TV would be really fun, but I'm not going to go pursue something like that, because I've been asked a few times, do you want to do a paranormal show on TV? Like, how many investigators have a show on television now? And but if they came up and they offered me, I would probably do it just for the fun of it. But it shouldn't be what your main goal is. And it sounds to me like you're just wanting to help people.
It's my reason why, my sole reason why I'm here is just to help. To help and to connect people with their loved ones on the other side, to give them so that they feel that they're sitting in their power and that they have other options and that they can connect with that loved one that passed, that they miss so much, so that they can keep moving forward.
I like your energy. You're pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, if somebody wants to get a reading from you, how do they get a hold of you?
On my website, mariaverdeschi.com. So you can go right on the website. You can go to where it says readings and you can book it right on my website. I've got classes. I don't think there's any up right now, but I do teach like mediumship classes, classes on connecting with your loved one, meditation classes. I teach all that. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Both of those are under Maria Verdeschi also.
I had another question for you, and then it's like one of those trains that goes off the track.
Yes. Like when I get up from the couch and I need something in the kitchen, and then I get to the kitchen and I go, son of a bitch, why am I in here?
It
What did
happens
I
to
need?
me. It happens way too much for me. I hate that. I hate that.
Yes.
Well, anyway, you know what'll happen is 2:00 in the morning. I'll remember it.
Well, of course. Yes.
I'll have the spirit send it to you, and you can answer. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm going to put all the links to your social media and your website in the description, and I'll folks will reach
Thank
out to
you.
you.
And the book's on Amazon, and Thomas John did the foreword to my book,
Oh, okay.
which
That's
I was
pretty cool.
very happy. In fact, I'll be seeing him tonight. I'm helping him at an event in Southfield tonight. So
And he's like a famous medium, right?
he is. Yes, he is.
Oh,
He is, I will say, I don't know any medium that is better with names. Because people will ask me, oh, well, what was the name? I'm like, I get names, but that's not my thing. And that's why I say all mediums are different. With me, the characteristics of how your loved one was when they were living, that's what comes through for me. So it's not going to be so much the names, but it's going to be how they were when they were here. It's those characteristics that you sit there and go, holy crap, that is my mom. That is my dad. With Thomas John, he's just, oh my, he's amazing with names. I don't
wow.
know anybody better. I really don't.
Man, that's awesome when they're spot on like that.
And weird names. It's not just like, oh, you had an Aunt Susie and Uncle John. No, these are like these names where you're like, where did he dig that out of? Like, very unusual names. He will also get those.
Really?
He's amazing.
I'm gonna have one of the spirits go send him a name, and I want to see if you get it.
Perfect. There you go.
No, but
Perfect.
seriously though, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that, and all the best to you and your partners over there, and I hope that everything works out.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I want to tell everyone out there too that if you are new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. And I hope you'll come back, and please subscribe. And for those of you who are regular, your support means everything in the world to me. I really do appreciate it. And so until the next one, please everyone take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
Po boy.